Hello, it's good to see your face again. I'm in a woods. I'm sat in the woods, not even on a bench, just by a stream. I feel like I haven't talked to the camera for a while, which seems to be a running thing on my channel. Not very consistent, but I'm consistent in my own way, just not as frequent as I would like. And that leads me nicely on to what I wanted to talk to you about today. And that is that I have an update. I have been diagnosed with combined ADHD as of yesterday, 13th of July. And yeah, just come to the woods to tell you and to process it myself. It's something I kind of knew, and I have spoken about it on this channel before. I had my strong suspicions, and yeah, they've been confirmed yesterday. So I just wanted to talk to you about my journey that I've chosen to do through Right to Choose on the NHS. So if you are looking to get diagnosed in the UK for ADHD, this is how I did it. So it might give you some insights to, particularly with ADHD 360, they're the provider that I chose. So the journey sort of began about, well, it was definitely over a year ago, if not like about a year. Went to the GP, said, I have these symptoms, can I be referred on the Right to Choose pathway for ADHD? And also at that time I asked for autism as well, just because there's a few symptoms or characteristics, if you will, that I feel might be that, but as of yet I haven't done anything about that. But yeah, so went to the GP. They had an appointment back over the phone, and they were just kind of like, why do you think that is? So I explained. They said, yeah, it kind of sounds like it. I'll send you over the referral forms, fill them out, and then choose your Right to Choose provider, and then we'll get the referral sent. It took a while to hear back from ADHD 360. They kind of acknowledged that they got it, and then there was a wait of like a couple of months. I can't remember how many months exactly, but if you go onto the NHS Right to Choose pathway, then it'll be on there, like the sort of time frame that you'd be looking at. Yeah, and then ADHD 360 kind of got back to me and was like, yeah, we got your referral, please complete all of these things on the patient portal, and then we can open, once they're all completed, then we can open up the clinical diaries. I will say that the stuff that you have to complete on there, it was like my nightmare, and if it wasn't for Nathan helping me literally for every step of the way, then it would have taken 3 times, if not 4 times more time. Like, yeah, I really didn't want to do it, and it's a nightmare in my opinion. Just like, yeah, loads of information obviously that they want you to provide, so it was just kind of basic stuff like basic details of personal details. Then there was kind of medical history, and and then it went into further detail of like, what are your symptoms, but that thing, like, you can't save and then come back. You have to, once you've started the task, you have to complete it. So that was quite lengthy. And yeah, like, I attempted it a few times and then I was like, Nathan, you're going to have to help me. So we had already put a lot of detail into the GP referral because I just knew that I would struggle to get my words out in the interview assessment. So we kind of copied and pasted a lot into the right boxes and added what felt necessary. Then there was also this thing called a QB check or QR check or something like that on the ADHD 360 platform. I don't know exactly what it was about. I think it was testing like how impulsive you are or focus, or obviously ADHD related. But it was the most painful thing for me to do, to be honest. Sat on the computer and there were flashing shapes of different colours. So it would be like red circle, red square, blue circle, blue square. And it was like a pattern of recognition and stuff. And it's like if it flashed up like red circle, then you have to press the space bar or something, and vice versa if it was, matching. But also if it was kind of 3 in a row, you'd still have to press it, sort of thing. That felt like it went on for 5 hours. Easy. But I don't know how long it was, like maybe 20-30 minutes, but I really hated that. And they're recording you as well, because they're recording your eye movements. It's something to do with your eye movements and you, I don't know for sure, but it's something like that. And yeah, I didn't like that at all. And then once that was set on, I had to do like blood pressure and pulse and height and weight, obs, if you will. And what else was it? Oh yeah, family / friends or close people, like the supporting evidence. So they would just have to, like, on a likelihood scale, how likely is this person to misplace things or interrupt you, things kind of like that. It's just a short little questionnaire that I got my mum and Nathan to do to support my assessment. There was something else as well. Oh, just things like uploading ID and utility bills for, like, obviously identity purposes. Just quite boring, mundane stuff that you'd think you'd need. And yeah, then it took a couple of months, not as long as I was expecting. And then all of a sudden, I checked my emails and it was like, your clinical diaries are open now. And there were so many appointments available with so many different clinicians. So, like, yeah. And every day it would refresh to the, like, it was like 2 weeks in advance. So yeah, it would be 2 weeks from now, and then the next day it would be 2 weeks from the next day, if that makes sense. Pretty much all day, and the appointment times were like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I was like, oh, okay, this is necessary, but whatever. So yeah, clicked. And then my assessment yesterday, I was so nervous. I felt sick. I couldn't really eat, and it's been during this heat wave in the UK, in the bedroom. So safe to say that was fun. Yeah, I was really, really nervous, and it was over Teams, online. So I, logged on. It says to do it like 10-15 minutes early, just in case there's technical difficulties, but luckily there wasn't. And then my clinician join. She was a little bit late, but in the email it kind of says, you know, be patient. They might be holed up because with the other patients or appointments that they've got, like, this is their job. So I was aware of that. Yeah, and then it was just kind of like, first of all, it was just like basic getting the computer up and running. And she was like, how are you feeling, Beth? And I was like, not gonna lie, I'm nervous. She's like, there's nothing to be nervous about. I'm like, everyone says that, but it never makes me feel any better. I just kind of clocked that I'm in the woods by myself. Kind of scary. No. It's grounding and relaxing. Just hearing a lot of wildlife, I think. Anyway. Yeah, and then it was just kind of, they have to do the risk assessments first, and address and stuff like that. So it was, yeah, risk assessment as in like, are you in danger sort of thing. I don't want to go into too much detail about that because it might be triggering. So yeah, just be prepared for that. They have to go through it, and that is also something that you do on the portal online. You know, they need to manage your risk. And to begin with, yeah, it was just like asking about like substance abuse or alcohol use or things like that. And then it was like, have you ever taken too many painkillers? Like, not for danger, but for euphoric uses, if you will. Yes, all risky stuff, risk assessment stuff first, and then I had wrote a lot of details, and she kind of said to me, it's really important that you kind of think back to like the age of 12 and below. Lucky my mum had written a lot of stuff for me to refer to, because I don't know, I don't remember, but like my clinician, she said, like, you know, you're at this position now because you've been kind of like pre-assessed, and it kind of warrants an assessment. Because as soon as she asked me, like, it was like the first question, like, are you forgetful of things or misplaced things, I just started crying. To be honest, like, I felt like it was just so important to me for this to happen. And I don't normally do a lot of like medical healthcare sort of, I don't go to the doctors a lot, so I just felt like it was important to me, and a big deal, and I was just basically crying throughout it all. And that seems to be a pattern in my life that I do. I cry when things are important to me, and then the attention's back on me. And yeah, then she reassured me, and yeah, it was just kind of, you know, when you were a kid, did this happen at school? Were you fidgeting? Were you getting out of your seat? Were you going up and like every opportunity, like getting out of your seat to sharpen your pencil? And I was like, memory unlock. Yes, I was. Like, and then it was kind of like, how, you know, how does it affect your work? Different parts of the assessment. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but like everything she was saying, I was just like, yeah, that is me. And then I was like, oh god, well, like, this is really me, and I seem like I'm just sat here saying yes, but you know, I wasn't lying. And then what else was it? Obviously there was a lot of stuff, but it was only yesterday, and I feel like my memory hasn't thought about it since. Yeah, it was kind of like, do you find that you're interrupting others? Do you find that she would like refer to my notes a lot, and she'd be like, oh, I know you said that like you impulsively spend, and she's like, talk to me about that, like what are the examples of that? I had written some examples, but she was like, it's just important, it's the whole point of the assessment to be able to talk about it as well, because obviously you can write whatever you like. And yeah, so just kind of questions like that. If you suspect you have ADHD, you would kind of know what symptoms they're asking of you, sort of thing, like what to expect. And then, yeah, at the end she said, like, you know, I don't normally say this until the paperwork's kind of gone through, but I will say that you are diagnosed now with combined ADHD. You show traits for both of them. And I was like, okay. Like, it was kind of like, I know, and oh my god, really? Sort of thing. Like, I was taken aback by it. I wasn't crying at that point, but like I was still emotional with the whole thing. You know, we talked about how I felt about it and what to expect over the next few days. She was like, you could experience like anger because like you might have felt like you were unsupported in school, or you might feel sad, or you might also amongst that feel relief. And I was like, I definitely feel relief. I feel seen and I feel believed. And yeah, and then she went on to saying, like, you know, what the next steps might be, and she was like, have you considered medication? And I said, I want to give it a go. I won't know if it works for me and my body and my brain unless I try. So she advised Elvance, which is probably a really common one. Like, it's like anyone I speak to is like, yeah, I'm an Elvance sort of thing. So yeah, I'm just waiting for that to come through and start the titration period. And then also at the end, she did say to me, I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but my background is in like mental health nursing and psychiatric and stuff, and I've experienced, and you know, I've got experience with a lot of neurodivergent people. And she was like, some of the traits that you were saying, especially about like the sensory and audio stuff, she was like, you might be showing signs of ASD or autism spectrum disorder or whatever it is called nowadays. And I was like, yeah, I have considered that in the past, but right now that's not something that I'm pushing for. Just because personally for me, I don't think that will make that much difference in my life in terms of the help and the treatment and the support that I can get. I could just be naive to this right now, but you know, we've both agreed, like, we'll get this out of the way first, you know, get on the stable and narrow, stable ground, and then potentially refer myself for autism. So yeah, and perfect timing, a van has just pulled up and I no longer feel comfortable sat here on the floor. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, an 18-minute nutshell. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below and I'll do my best to get back to them. And yeah, if you have any other experience or advice going forward for a newly ADHD girly, well, newly diagnosed anyway, let me know and I will see you in the next one.